video, I am going to share with you how social media is slowly ruining your life. I'm also going to address some common misconceptions about quitting social media and ways you can thrive without it, even in business. It's a courageous step towards rediscovering genuine connections, nurturing creativity, and embracing a life of purpose and fulfillment beyond the confines of virtual validation. So, if you're ready to reclaim your time, protect your mental health, and embrace a more balanced life, maybe it's time to rethink social media. The price of anything is the amount of life you exchange for it. I guarantee you won't look back on your life and wish you sat around looking at social media more. Yet here we are, hour after hour, day after day, preoccupied, feeding our brains all this information, sometimes useful and most of the time it probably is not, that we aren't going to do anything with because we're going to continue being absorbed in our phones. You've been sold a lie that social media is necessary for you to stay connected to your people and to grow in business. This way of thinking is harmful because when you prioritize social media and connecting with friends and family and growing your business on social media, you tend to overlook all the value that's available that is not social media. For example, if you are connecting online, you're probably going to give less value to prioritizing connecting face to face. If you already DM your friends on social, you're less likely to pick up the phone and have a phone conversation or bother to meet up in person because you feel like, oh, I just talked to them. Our devices have become a barrier between us and the world, blocking our real connections in favor of virtual ones. Let's address some of these common misconceptions, and I'll start with business since I already kind of touched on that. And the number one misconception is that you can't grow a business without social media. I think a lot of us have forgotten that thriving businesses have been grown for far longer without social media than they have with social media. But some undervalued ways to grow a business offline are to build a strong website. You can also partner with businesses and people in your community, know and take advantage of the value of word of mouth, and possibly even have a referral program for people to spread the word about your business or service. Build your email list, and you can do this by having a freebie, a lead magnet where people have to drop their email in order to take advantage of whatever it is that you're offering of value. You can use platforms such as blogs and podcasts, whether it's yours or somebody else's, and utilize non-social media advertising, sponsorships, blog spots, to name a few. Another misconception that you may have is that you won't know about what's going on around you. The fact is, you still know people that are on social media that can tell you about events, and businesses and people still have websites with calendars that share what's going on with them. And you might think you won't have a way to connect with distant family and friends and you'll isolate yourself. I would go so far as to say, why not pick up the phone? You might also feel like you don't want to lose all of the documentation of your memories that you've captured and posted on social media over the years. And I completely understand that, but my first question is, why does a platform have control over these valuable memories of yours in the first place? What you need to do is get a thumb drive, download your profile. If you want to get off social, you don't have to lose everything. Because what if they shut down or they get banned? Like, you're going to lose it anyway. So you need to always have a backup of whatever it is you're posting online. It shouldn't be like the place where you store your archive, because if they want to ban you, or even if they get banned, like I'm hearing another platform it is possibly going to get, then all your stuff is gone. So back your stuff up. Something you should be doing anyway, whether you want to leave social media or not. You have to start making real life more fun and interesting than online life. And you can do this in a few ways. First and foremost, you can start forming meaningful connections with people instead of superficial ones outside of the internet. You can also start putting your phone down and being more present in your own day to day. And start prioritizing living your life instead of watching other people live theirs. Disclaimer, I'm sure some of you are thinking, well, YouTube is social media and you clearly didn't delete that. And obviously you're correct, but I still have to be very mindful about my consumption here. But it's a little different than Instagram or TikTok for me. And I can't really articulate why that is the case, but it's more of a feeling that I have when engaging in the other platforms than when I am on YouTube. This video is to get you to consider ditching social media and to take a look at its impact on your life and your well-being, and to see how it might benefit from leaving it if it's a problem for you. Ditching social media could be you quitting all platforms, but it could also be just you quitting the ones that make you feel gross. After you watch this video and have considered what's being presented and you can't relate and you still can't see how social media is negatively impacting you, by all means, stay. It's your life, it's your choice. Some people actually do think that they are above falling prey to the influences of social media, and not only is the algorithm influencing you, but people are called influencers for a reason. They can impact you negatively or positively, but the fact remains that they are definitely influencing you. Jaron Lanier, I feel like it's Lanier. Jaron Lanier's second argument in his book, 10 Arguments for Deleting Social Media Right Now, is that social media algorithms control where you focus your attention by highlighting certain points and making emotional ones stand out, which can make people more divided and spread false information and cause tension in society. We are being force-fed what they want us to focus on. Therefore, you have to be extra intentional about where you choose to invest your attention. They pick what they think we'd be most interested in based on what we've engaged in the past. They also sprinkle in whatever narrative they want to push as well. We have no control and never will on their platforms, but at least we can be aware of how they are directing our attention. We've been living in an age where validation comes in the form of likes, comments, and shares. It's a sad reality when our self-worth is measured by virtual approval. We're all suffering the effects of the cheap dopamine these likes and comments create when participating on social media. Cheap dopamine overload makes our pleasure baseline steadily increase, making things that used to give us pleasure not as appealing. This means that we'll gradually have to increase the amount of stimulation and validation we get from social media the more we consume. I talk more about cheap dopamine and its effects on our brain in my video called 10 Steps to Eliminating Screen Addiction, and I will link that here and in the description. Social media is very mentally draining as well. It has a relentless stream of information that overwhelms our brains and makes it challenging to retain and process information effectively. Like I kind of just touched on, it also has addictive design features. For example, like I was saying, the likes and the comments and the little tokens and stuff that we find on some of the games and things that we can become addicted to. The scroll feature that looks like a slot machine. That leads to addictive behavior as we seek more and more engagement. Not to mention short form contents, the reels and the shorts and the TikToks that we love so much, they reduce our ability to focus for extended periods of time and our ability to engage in deep, sustained concentration. Another problem with social media is that it creates a comparison culture. Everybody knows that we are looking at people's highlight reels of their lives. They only post the most fun and exciting things from a little snippet of their lives, and we know this because we do the same thing. There's often a pressure to maintain a certain image because we constantly measure our lives against others' curated online lives, which leads to feelings of inadequacy, low self-esteem, depression, and then we perceive our lives as being less fulfilling compared to others. Halfway through this video, we've only scratched the surface. We've talked about some of the drawbacks of social media, some common misconceptions about quitting social media, and a few forgotten ways to thrive outside of social media. If you're a person that's committed to living life more simply and authentically, consider becoming a part of our growing community and subscribing to this channel. Keep watching because I'm giving even more unconventional perspectives on how to deprogram and rethink your relationship with social media. You can prioritize your well-being and choose to disengage and still live a rich life. The quality of your life is determined by the focus of your attention. Sherry Huber. In a society where social media usage is widespread and often normalized, you might feel pressure to conform in that there's an expectation of being constantly connected online. In order to successfully quit social media, you're going to have to do a few things. First, you're going to have to develop a strong sense of self-worth that is independent of social media metrics and online validation. So you're recognizing that your worth is not tied to the amount of likes, comments, shares, subscribes, follows. You have to be true to yourself and prioritize authenticity over fitting in with online trends and expectations. Allowing social media to determine what you think, how you dress, act, talk, and all of that creates a bunch of automatons, and you're gonna have to start embracing standing out and being different. Not being true to yourself and being easily influenced by others has kept you from taking charge of your life. Absorbing everybody else's opinion about everything is mind-numbing, and this really leaves no room for you to form your own thoughts and opinions. It's time to start taking the lead on your own life, trusting your own wisdom for what's best for you and the way you should live and what's the most in alignment for your soul's purpose. The days of handing over your power and allowing outside influences to have a stronger say than your own internal wisdom on what's good for you are over. Trust yourself. You know more than you think you do. Benjamin Spock. Focus on pursuing meaningful activities and relationships that enrich your life offline. And see stepping away from social media as self-care and use it as an opportunity for personal growth. The time you save not doom scrolling can be spent being more productive by getting outside, socializing, exercising, or engaging in a personal project. It's important to develop resilience to external pressure and judgments by trusting your own decisions and priorities and accepting that not everybody will understand or support your choice to be offline. And I'm gonna just be honest with you, you're going to have to adopt a I don't give a mentality and live life on your own terms, regardless of what other people are going to think or say. Like I said, people fear becoming isolated by leaving social media, but maybe it's just me. But when I was on social media, I was not regularly making these genuine connections and having these meaningful, insightful conversations with people. At best, a liked post or a one-line comment every now and then. It wasn't like social media was just fostering these deep connections. That was not my experience. So this had me questioning why I felt the need to hold on to all these superficial connections, and the only thing I could think of was I am using this as an opportunity to flex and using it for outside validation. And I know it's a human need to want to feel validated, but if the ones I am closest to can't do that for me, I need to learn how to do that for myself and not be relying on strangers to give me validation. Ultimately, you can't be afraid to be an outlier. You're going to hear how much you're missing out on, and if you're a business owner, you might even be missing out on some money. If you want to be successful offline, you're just going to have to be okay with that. You have to decide what's enough and what's important. I mean, there are those people that want to make as much money and reach as many people as they possibly can online. And if that is you, then social media is probably your jam. But for those of us whose goal is to live comfortably and with enough and want to reject hustle culture and toxic capitalism, some things are just worth missing out on for the sake of our sanity. And you have to trust that what's for you will find you. Some of the benefits of quitting social media is that you become more present because your attention isn't being divided between multiple things constantly. You're inevitably going to become more creative because you'll start thinking for yourself more and more and creating your own insights instead of adopting those of everybody else. You'll have plenty of time for other interests and hobbies. You might even start feeling an overall increase in your well-being. Your critical thinking skills will increase, and again, because you are having a lot less outside influence, and you'll have increased emotional stability. I was just watching a video where this woman was explaining how by consuming social media, we can go through a range of emotions in a very short amount of time. And I mean, you can go from happy to sad to angry all within minutes, or I mean, depending on how fast you scroll, it might even be seconds. And she was just talking about how unnatural and unhealthy that is for us emotionally. And I was like, I have to wholeheartedly agree that I've been there. Like, I've had that experience, and mentally and emotionally, that's not okay. And I have to bet that another one of the things that you'll experience once you leave social media is that eventually, over time, you experience less and less FOMO, or fear of missing out. You'll also have an increase in your self-esteem because you've taken a few steps back from comparison culture. your mental health will improve, and your focus and attention span will increase. Okay, so far we've taken a look at the role of social media in our lives, highlighting its negative impacts and offering some alternatives for thriving without it. We've decided to reclaim control over our time, mental well being, nurturing genuine connections, and embracing a life beyond virtual validation. We've looked at the freedom and enrichment ditching social media can bring. We've challenged the notion that social media is indispensable for personal and professional growth and discussed the value of our attention. I have encouraged you to embrace a life less influenced by external pressures and to foster genuine connections and to trust your own internal wisdom. We've also looked at possibilities that come when you reclaim power over yourself. If you have found value in this discussion and you know someone else that can benefit from this information, be sure to spread the wealth and share this video with them. Also, make sure you subscribe to stay connected. I wanted to tell y'all about this group I just joined. It's called the Internet and Technology Addicts Anonymous, that provides support for those of us that want to quit using the internet and technology compulsively. This program follows a 12-step program similar to that of Alcoholics Anonymous. It's also free. If this is something you could benefit from, visit their website at internetaddictsanonymous.org. You can continue this journey towards a more mindful and fulfilling experience by watching the Slow Living video, where I discuss the benefits of refusing hustle culture and living an authentic and intentional life. Until next time, take care and stay true to yourself. Peace.